At 6:44 tonight, officers were dispatched to the Macy's at the Mall of America on what was reported as a stabbing. Our officers responded and arrived within 1 to 2 minutes. And when they got there, they found a situation that they quickly realized was an interrupted theft. The suspect in the theft had went into a dressing room, and from what we have been able to figure out so far is he tried to take some property out of the dressing room. He was confronted by the owner of the property. He produced a knife and during the confrontation stabbed the victim. When that happened, there was a couple of other family members that assisted the victim. They went in there to help. In doing so, a second victim sustained a knife wound. The family members were able to disarm the suspect. Our officers arrived and took the suspect into custody. So our officers responded within 1 to 2 minutes. They quickly were able to determine what had happened was a theft was interrupted. A suspect went into one of the dressing rooms and attempted to take some property. The owner of the property came in to the dressing room and confronted the suspect. The suspect pulled out a knife, and during the confrontation, the victim was stabbed. He began to yell, and a couple of his family members went in to help. They overheard the confrontation. They went in to help him. During the confrontation, a second victim was stabbed, but at that time, they were able to disarm the suspect, and our officers arrived really shortly after that. There have been 2 adult males that were taken to the hospital and have what are described as non-life-threatening injuries, and the suspect is in custody.
Was the suspect injured at all?
The suspect, he's not been transported to the hospital. He has some what look to be minor superficial wounds.
Did this happen inside of Macy's or a different store?
This happened inside the men's department fitting rooms in Macy's.
What did he steal exactly?
I'm unsure at this point what the actual theft item was.
But it was like somebody else's property. It wasn't like he was shoplifting?
Correct.
And
you know how you go into the fitting room and you change your clothes, you go out maybe to show your family. It sounds like what happened is when he went out to show his family the items that he was trying on, the suspect was back in the fitting room and attempted to take some property.
Do you know if anybody knew each other, or was this random?
Doesn't sound like the suspect is known to the victim.
The second the second person stabbed was a family member of the initial victim.
They were together. I'm not sure if they're technically related, but they were in the same group.
And this suspect, obviously male, that he was in that men's department.
Yes.
Do you have an age of the suspect?
It sounds like the victim and his relatives were able to confront the suspect during this, and they were able to get the knife away from him. When the officers arrived, the officers quickly took him into custody, and it's a little bit unclear as to whether or not he had the knife or if the family members had the knife, but I'm fairly confident that he was disarmed when the officers arrived.
Some witnesses were reporting the suspect was talking to himself and acting strange in the store. Have you heard that at all?
I have not.
Do you know what kind of knife?
At this point, that is still an active investigation, and I don't want to put out more information that I'm absolutely certain of, and so I'm not going to get any more details about the knife.
How serious are the injuries?
They're described to me as non-life-threatening, but they were transported to the hospital and are being treated there now.
Just to clarify, the 2 victims are family members. They are related.
They're in the same group. I think they're related, but I'm not positive on that. I think they're either cousins or related. They were in the same group. Right.
And are they from here? Are they from Minnesota?
I don't have that information right now.
Okay. And how was the suspect detained? Did they hold him down, or how did the officers find him when they arrived?
The family member alerted the officers where the confrontation had taken place, and they quickly were able to locate the suspect and take him into custody.
Was this in the men's shoe department?
To my knowledge, it's in the menswear department, so I think it's in the same general vicinity of the shoe department, but it's not technically the shoe department.
So the suspect is in custody, technically?
Yes.
Were there any lockdowns?
One male adult is in custody, and at this point in time, the investigation is very active, and the officers are still in the process of talking to witnesses. The suspect has probably yet not even made it to the jail yet, and will obviously be questioned once he's there and booked in. So that's all the information I have. As I said, Deputy Chief Hartley is going to put something on paper. We just wanted to get some information out to you really quickly here. This is a really fresh crime scene. It just happened within the last probably 90 minutes or so.
Did you lock down the mall?
Yeah. Or just that store at least?
Just that store, to my knowledge. It happened very quickly, and the suspect was taken into custody very quickly, and so I don't believe there was a lockdown of the entire mall. That's all we got right now. There will be more information in terms of specifics and details from Deputy Chief Hartley later on tonight. Thanks a lot, folks.
Chief,